I'm Brian Unger from How the States Got Their Shapes, and I'm in my backyard, my ranch in Southern California. At this time, I've partnered with history, and together we're providing history lessons for you, your family, and your kids. Now, some of the topics will come from the perspective of where we are right now, and others will just be a broader History 101. So what do you say we get started? This is History at Home. I'm glad you're here. I could really use your help grooming old Smoky Sand Badger here.
Nope.
Nope? What do you mean, nope?
Well, I'm playing with Rocky.
Well, put Rocky down and lend me a hand here.
Well, I'm socially distant.
You're socially distant?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Bye now.
Bye. See you
See
later.
ya.
See you later, Robert.
Later.
Long-distance relationships. They happen all the time, and they're complicated. You even see it in the map of the United States and in our state lines. When Europeans first crossed the ocean to settle here in the late 1500s, so many got sick from disease that it would take almost 30 years before the first settlement survived in Williamsburg, Virginia. At the same time, Native Americans the Europeans met also got sick from disease. The reason? Neither group had ever met before, so both groups got sick since they lacked the natural protection against the viruses each encountered. Definitely not a good way to begin a relationship. With religion also came distance. Puritans, a strict form of Christianity, didn't want to live around people who were not Puritans, so they founded Massachusetts. Then a Puritan named Roger Williams didn't want to live around Puritans he didn't consider pure enough, so he and his followers founded Rhode Island. Catholics in England did not like living near Protestants, so they founded Maryland. Quakers founded Pennsylvania, and since no one liked living with people who couldn't pay their debts, those deadbeats were told to go create Georgia. Criminals have always preferred distance from law enforcement. Even that's on the map. Check out the southwest border of Massachusetts. Until 1855, that corner high in the Berkshire Mountains was remote, and the only road that could get to it was through New York. That made it tough to enforce the law in that corner, which made it ideal for folks who didn't like law enforcement. So in 1855, Massachusetts agreed to transfer that corner to New York. The same thing happened in the area that is now the Panhandle of Oklahoma. This is where it kind of gets complicated. Because of a law forbidding slavery in the North, and because Congress wanted future states to be equal in size, a gap was left between Kansas and Texas. And since Oklahoma wasn't even a state yet, no one was in charge of that land. No man's land, where there were no state laws and lots of folks who didn't care much for the law. Not until 1890, when Congress turned this territory reserved for Native Americans into Oklahoma, did it stick on the Panhandle. Of course, some folks just like to keep their distance from each other, who prefer the freedom that comes from relying on themselves. You see that in the map too, in places like Wyoming and Alaska. Around 1850, when newspaper editor Horace Greeley said, "Go west, young man," the independent-minded headed to the vast prairies and mountains where to this day they live a life that President Teddy Roosevelt called rugged individualism. And indeed, there are times when the distancing that is part of rugged individualism is a very valuable lesson in life.